Okay. Well, I'll give you guys a little bit of a preface of I'm super excited to bring these guests on today. They've been really instrumental in helping me kind of move the needle forward and think outside the box, which is what they specialize in. And a little story about this. So Chelsea and I went to high school together and literally had not seen each other in 14 years at least. And she called me out of the blue because her husband was at a convention in Orlando and said, hey, like, I'd love to just catch up with you. And it kind of spun into this, like, well, what are you doing now? And what are you doing now? And how do we help each other? And the rest is kind of history. So they've been really instrumental in helping get my team kind of launched and get some of these systems built. And one of the most, I would say probably one of the best classes that I've seen. I've been to a ton of social media classes. And they actually came in and did a training for my team and basically the social media roadmap. So what you're going to see is the training that they provided my team. And I've been to a ton of them, and a lot of times it's like looking at this giant mountain without really knowing how to take steps in order to conquer it. This is really, really on point and prescriptive to like, do this, don't do this. This is, you know, it's taking a lot of tangible things and making it so you can take it out in bite-sized chunks. So they're absolutely awesome. And I'll turn it over to Chelsea and Kelly. They're both the co-founders of Prodeo, which is a marketing creative collaborative. So wealth of knowledge. We're working on getting them to come help in November with a KV Core session for our GPS training. So there's some good stuff coming, but I want to turn it over. Who wants to go first? Chelsea? I'll turn it over to Chelsea, I guess, and she can introduce herself and tell you a little bit more about what they do and who they are, and then we'll jump right into it. Oh, mute.
Yeah, thanks for the great introduction, Max. We're really excited to be here with you guys, share some information and best practices around social media. So let me go ahead. We've got a deck to share with you today. So let me get that set up here. I see I've got the ability to share. All right, and if Max or Kelly can let me know if I'm on the right screen here.
I see it, yes.
Okay.
There it is.
Let me just move my camera over here so I can see all you guys. But yeah, so my name is Chelsea Parr, and I also have with me today Kelly McCormick. We're the co-founders of Prodeo. And like Max said, that we're all about marketing, branding, and really helping the businesses and individuals in growth mode that are looking to continue to scale their business and finding a strategy that really works for them. Today we'll focus on social media, but we worked with Max's team on a lot of these different elements, both for their individual businesses, but also as Magnetic Home Group. So we're excited to share some of these tidbits with you today. Just as a brief overview of what we do, like you said, we do marketing strategy. We have a creative collective that has all these different creative talents with individuals that contribute to that. And one of the things that we really feel like sets us apart is that we're all about the training, which is what we worked with Max's team as well, is that it's not just about executing those pieces, but really learning the why and understanding a deeper level so that you can continue to scale those over time. But with today's topic about social media, this is a big one, right? Especially for the business that all of you are in, because it's one of your major connectors, to potential clients, current clients, and is a really amazing tool to leverage and grow your business. Now, I think we could probably all relate, as Kelly and I can as well, is that social media can be this big thing, right? This never ending commitment, this thing that once you turn on, you feel like you can't turn it off. Something that you constantly scramble to conquer. Maybe you don't feel like you're getting the results that you want for what you're putting out there. Lots of times you spend a lot of time putting together this incredible content. You're like, this is going to move the needle. And then you throw it out there and it's just radio silence on the other end, right? So it can be a very humbling experience. But when executed correctly and kind of having this strategy component boosting it up with some consistency, you'll find that social media can be one of your most powerful tools in building your business and a really great ROI on any marketing dollars that you put into your business. And this is because you don't have to wait for somebody to drive by your sign or open an email or something, that this is a direct connection and that you can really expose yourself to new people and new markets. So when you want to really focus on what are those pieces that are going to allow you to execute this correctly, because it's one of those things you got to have kind of all those factors working in tandem to really move the needle, versus if you just kind of jab at it sporadically, you'll find that it can be a huge drain on time and resources. But so 3 of our biggest tips to start with is 1, make it a team effort if you're working in a group setting. 2, vary your content. This is going to help with engagement. And 3, work smarter, not harder. So let's break that down a little bit more. So in making it a team effort, this is where you guys can come together within your groups or with partner agents that, you're creating content, but you kind of use it as an exchange, right? As long as it's relevant content, if it's educational materials, if it's, different tips and tricks in today's market, things like that, that you can kind of borrow and share with each other. This is going to help social media not feel like such a burden. Also, in varying your content, if you're always looking at just one type of content and churning that out, it's going to not only feel, pretty repetitive and mundane to you, but it's probably going to come across that way to your audience. So in varying your content, making it fun, mixing up that messaging. So you're not just posting about open houses, but you're also posting about closings. You're also sharing those educational materials about what to know about rising interest rates, things like that, so that people different people have different information that resonate with them. And that's what's going to be really helpful, is that maybe one thing you put out there doesn't really resonate with that section of your audience, but if you're varying content, you're kind of giving a little bit of something for everybody. And then under kind of work smarter, not harder, we look at these 3 categories: a social calendar, brand standards, and social templates. If you take the time to organize and put these foundational pieces into play, it's going to be a game changer in how you perceive social media within your business. It's going to go from this thing that you're constantly trying to keep up with and feels like this just never ending loop, to something that is actually a business builder that strategically layers in messaging, education, and you're kind of even qualifying clients along the way. Max, I know that you hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say something real quick. A couple
Sure.
things that you just said that popped up. I think just for everybody, this is the time, obviously with the shift, we've been talking about this on Mondays with open houses, but this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this on, is this is the time for you to grow and kind of fill the shrinking space. Social media is one of the best ways for you to consistently put your branding out there, because what's going to happen as this market gets more difficult, people are going to go to the internet to qualify you when you meet them. So this is a huge, huge tool in order for you to get your brand and your voice out there. The other thing that I was going to say that you were saying, Chelsea, that I think is amazing, I think you're going to be pretty surprised on some of the things that we thought. Well, let me put it this way. How many of you, like Chelsea was saying, have gone to do a social media post, and an hour and a half later, you have this gorgeous social media post, but you just spent an hour and a half on social media that may or may not move the needle? How many of you feel like it just takes so much time? Yeah. So that's part of why pay attention to this, because one of the things that she helped me with was kind of zooming out and looking at it as a major practice as opposed to each individual post. Because I remember at the beginning, and we're not even there yet. If you go see my social media, I'm not there yet. We're still working on this. It is something that you're going to continue to learn and grow with. But that was one of my biggest ahas with the social calendar, just like we were talking about with open houses. It becomes a lot easier when you zoom out and understand the entire journey and the entire thing, that the entire brand that you're trying to give, as opposed to, you know, your alarm gets off at 8:30 in the morning. You're like, oh crap, I have to do a social media post today. And then you spend a half an hour figuring out what to post and an hour and a half creating a post. Does this make sense? So watch this. It's really, really cool. So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like Max said, you don't want to just on the day of then scramble to come up with this creative content, right? Like the creative process can't be rushed. And I think that that's one of the pieces that all of us get into trouble with our respective businesses is like, look, we're amazing at what we do, right? We're amazing at what our specialty is, whether that be our business with marketing branding, or you guys within real estate, you excel in real estate and that's your specialty. So it gets difficult with some of these other aspects of your business that maybe doesn't feel completely natural to you. And then, you know, it's harder to kind of just complete on the fly. So by starting with the social calendar as kind of the bones of the operation, so laying out month by month and coming up with anywhere from like 3 to 5 themes that you're going to maintain within your social media. So one of those might be, hey, this is, you know, open houses is one theme. You know, current market education is another theme. Celebrating those closed sales, that's another theme. You know, celebrating personal wins, that's another theme. And then what you do is you lay out month by month, and you can color code them and spread them out throughout the month so that you're continuing to hit on that messaging again and again. Because what you're doing is you're training your audience over time on what to look for, what kind of information you're providing, and most importantly, what value you're providing. So that's why when you're thinking about those themes, start considering like, what are those messages, or what do you hope to derive from each one of those themes, and then scatter that cadence throughout the month. That's then also going to allow you to work smarter, not harder, by just looking at it and you know, once a month spending a social media day, or breaking it up, you know, in a few hours over the course of a couple of days, and going through and just building out that messaging for each one of those themes. And then it's as easy as, you know, writing that quick copy, you know, for those posts, and using some of these templates to then just plug and play. And then you have everything set up so that when that alarm goes off, that you have something to post that day, you've already got it set up to execute. And it's as easy as that. And if you're a super pro at social media, you can, even after you create those, go ahead and schedule them for the entire month. So they're just running behind the scenes. And then you can go in and engage with people and, you know, answer questions, things like that. But that's why social calendar is, it, you know, kind of helps you, you know, boil everything down, navigate all the different ideas and things going on, so that it's not just random posts, but these are building blocks that are training your audience, educating your audience, and it's going to make life a lot easier for you. So then when you're looking at building that content, this is when brand standards come in, is because not only do you want consistency in that messaging and that theming, but like Max said, this is how people are going to be finding you. So you want to have consistency amongst your personal brand and how that fits into your brokerage, you know, as a larger scope, so that there's consistency across the board. And that when people see a piece of content, it's like, boom, they know exactly it's from you. And you know, your name, your brand marks, all of that is there. And it's going to create that brand awareness, you know, over time, which obviously is really important in your business, as you want to stay front of mind of people and have the, you know, the your name and everything resonate with them. So then finally you take the brand standards, the social calendar, and you've got those themes. So now you start putting it into templates, because this is even going to make your life even easier. Is that if you can come up with a series of templates that you use again and again, it's going to create consistency in your social media. Again, it's going to show people, hey, this is what to look for. If you have specific templates that are always around your educational content, then people know that if that's something that they've really found value in the past, the second that they, you know, are scrolling along and they catch a glance of that template that you use with your education educational materials, they're going to stop the scroll and they're going to engage with your content. And that's
And
going to
check,
build, a personal brand loyalty with you as well.
and that was one of my ahas with you guys, is because a lot of times, and it's the same thing with open houses and stuff, you guys, the repetition of the content is kind of the death of it, but the look and feel, if that's consistent with varied like meat in the content, that's where your sweet spot is. It's almost like it's like two opposites that come together to
Right.
make something that works. And that was a big aha for me.
Absolutely, Max. Yeah, it's like it can feel a little bit repetitive in look, but yeah, you're swapping out that content and people find that value. So let's take a look at social templates as how best to kind of approach these. And we're going to show you an example that we went through with Magnetic Home Group that's kind of like a before templating and after templating look. Okay. So this is sort of the post without templating. This is, hey, my alarm went off at 8 a.m. I got to put this social media post up, and you're scrolling through, maybe you're pulling up Canva and scrolling through like all their templates and like, okay, what can I do? Now, each one of these templates on its own is a pretty template, right? So, but they're not really working together. We've got different color palettes going on, sort of different aesthetics in terms.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Can everybody see the shared screen, by the way? Everybody see it? Okay. I don't know what's going on, Delenia. Somebody said they couldn't see it, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we got different graphics going on. There's multiple different fonts happening across these. And when put together, it doesn't look cohesive. And there's nothing that's really showing me who exactly is posting this. So that as I'm scrolling through, unless I'm seeing, your name and your, little profile icon, there's nothing that's really drawing me to you. Now, if we look at social templating, these are very similar messaging, right? As that we had with the post without templates, but now we have a consistent color palette. We've got consistency in fonts. We've got some consistency in terms of shapes. And these are all templates that can be used again and again, right? So like with the coming soon, if I'm somebody that's in the market, for a new home, and I follow you on Facebook, you better believe that in a competitive market, the second that I see that coming soon, that I'm going to kind of log that away and make sure that, I'm jumping at that opportunity. And so that's a great way to kind of train your viewers. Same thing with like giving them a sneak peek on an open house, or even, over here on the left-hand side, with somebody giving you a great review or kind of a testimonial. So this is just kind of bringing all those things together. They're still attractive. They're still stylized, but they continue to, work hard for you again and again because they're reestablishing those brand standards. So, all right. Makes sense for our templates. Anything else you wanted to add on templates, Max?
No, I was just going to say too, definitely the training that we've got going on the, so all of these, and actually, all right, so a couple questions. Red just said, where do you create and get those templates? If you haven't created a free Canva account, you need to do that. And look, there's 4 different posts and you literally just keep those. And in Canva, like the open house one, you can change the price, change the address, and drop another photo in, and you're done. That's what we're talking about, is having some, for the different types of posts. First of all, you're figuring out what's your business look like. What are the types of posts that I'm going to do? A lot of us are going to do the same stuff in terms of just closed, just listed, under contract. There's certain standard ones that you're going to do. You'll probably need one template, but like for open houses, there's probably 4 or 5 different types of posts that I can do for an open house. So I can have 4 or 5 different templates in a folder on Canva and literally just drag and drop photos in there and change a little bit of content. The other thing I want you guys to realize in these templates, look at how many words are there and how many words are not there. Mm-hmm. And that was another aha. Less is more. In terms of, this is about the visual, the eye-catching, and stopping the scroll. And I love how you said that.
Yes.
When everybody's scrolling, how many of you start reading something and as soon as it says read more, you scroll on, you don't click read more, right? So this is, remember, less is more. It's got to be clear and concise, and you just kind of put that little content out there. So Canva is going to really help you with your branding and creating these templates in there. And Chelsea, I guess one of the questions too, and this is going to help out, I'm sure we can go over this on our training with Celebration Title on the 20th, if you guys can make that in Central Florida. What are a couple of the different things for branding? What are kind of like the main, I'd say the main three things that would create a consistent brand? I know colors is one of them.
Yep.
And then you mentioned font. And
Yep.
then,
And then having those logo marks.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you have your logo mark, a consistent font, and consistent coloring,
yep.
You've created a brand at that point.
Right. And that's kind of what you see here in these templates, of that we have the Magnetic Home Group logo, but there's also, you'll notice there's multiple versions of the Magnetic Home logo, so that your M with the door, that's your icon. That's your brand icon. So sometimes you get the full logo, sometimes you just get that icon, but that icon helps that even when it doesn't say Magnetic Home Group, people see that icon and they know it's you, right? So it's a really great way to start building that brand awareness and catching people's eye and associating it back to you without being super wordy, and like you said, Max, you want to get the core information out there, but you don't need to, write a book in your 1-to-1 ratio post.
Right.
And
well, remember what you want them to do. You want to tease so that they reach out. So if you're giving away the farm and writing a short novella, what else do you have to talk about? You've already said everything right there. So teasers are really, really key.
Yeah. And this, this goes like falling down the rabbit hole and social media and like understanding algorithms and everything. So that's like, an advanced social media class. But one of the biggest takeaways from, talking about social media algorithms is the way you post does matter in terms of visibility in people's feeds. We'll talk later. Kelly's got some great do's and don'ts that can help get more visibility, but you don't want too many words on your actual visual of your post. So these squares here, because algorithms will show preference to photos, videos, or posts with less text. So you just want to make sure that there's a balance. Obviously this varies, per industry in terms of what is the bare minimum of the stuff you want to get out there. You still want to get your message across, but you just want to be conscious of like, if there's stuff that you can actually put in the copy of the post or break it up into more succinct little pieces and turn it into 3 posts, maybe over the course of a week. Like there's all different ways to still get those messages across, but still kind of, be using those tipster tricks to, beat the system, if you will. So, but yeah. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about personal social versus team social. And this is going to be kind of different for each individual as how you operate within your personal, business as an agent, and then how you also relate to your brokerage. So, this is something that it really helps. These are some best practices, but really take some of this information and cater it to what your personal situation is. So there's benefits to both leveraging your personal profile, a business profile, and even the team social profile for your business. And this is all about ways to reach those different audiences, right? You guys in your business, that sphere is so important. So you're trying to, remain very forward in your sphere and keep yourself top of mind. But then at the same time, you're also trying to kind of, grow that sphere, grow that market that you can work with. So it's about kind of leveraging all these different pieces, and that your personal outreach and your personal profile, or even your personal business profile, really helps you build that reputation that is so important. share listings, because obviously that's what's going to keep your business going and turning that business over, and also establishing a narrative around yourself. So that's what's important from a personal standpoint, and that's about building your personal brand. Now, also working kind of on the team side or the brokerage side will help to show and raise kind of your authority by the fact that you're part of a larger group, and you can help kind of leverage that content back and forth. It also allows you to share some of those additional resources, and it really strengthens your overall individual positioning as well. So in terms of your personal social, so when I say personal social, I mean your personal, let's use just Facebook, for instance, your personal Facebook page, and then your personal business page. And we'll go into some of the differences on that in just a second. But you're going to want to create that calendar for all the reasons we previously mentioned. You want to determine those themes, maintain sort of a copy guide. I don't know if you guys use Google Docs as sort of where you dump all those ideas that you get while you're taking a shower, right? Or wherever the spot is where all of a sudden all these thoughts and ideas come to your head. But, even if you have different ideas in terms of copy for posts or ideas for posts, put those all down. And that's something that you can continue to feed from. Stick with consistent brand elements, like we mentioned, healthy balance between personal and professional posts. So that's going to vary per type of profile. And then don't just put stuff out there into the social media universe and think that that's going to drive your business. What it's meant to do is start a conversation and an exchange. So if you're not doing the second half of it, so you're posting, but then you're not then maintaining a conversation or an engagement, then you're going to see your social media fall flat. So you really want to help build relationships, drive engagement, and have those quality conversations. And that's what
I just want to bring, because this has been a huge question, and everybody has a different opinion. And I think this is the right one. I've been asked a lot, well, do you post just on a business page for this? Or do I not create a business page? And some people say I do everything on my personal. You're saying do both. Mm-hmm. And because you're going to get a different audience for each. And then I think if I remember correctly, Kelly's going to go through what type of content goes where. Is that correct?
Yep, I've actually got that. And let's skip ahead here, because even with the team social, this is something that you guys can continue the conversation with your team, with your brokerage, of same with best GPS. Practices. Yeah. But also team effort, have people that specialize in different areas of content, or if they have a niche within their business. If your niche is all about helping with real estate as it, relates to estate planning, or things like that, that you can then have these people within your team contribute content to the team conversation around those niches, or just to kind of split the burden, right? So anyway, that's kind of in terms of team social. But just to go with what you're talking about, Max, as kind of the breakdown. So now don't let this overwhelm you, okay? Because know that, improving your social media or finding that strategy is something that you can, execute and evolve over time. But this is what our best practices are, is basically when it comes to your business, you're going to, really exist across sort of 3 different profiles. So first off is your personal profile.
Or two, I would say, because if you aren't part of a team or a major group, that's totally fine. You're going to do number 1 and number 2 as an individual agent. I just knew some of us were also part of a team, and they did this for the team. So we wanted to share kind of that next evolution as well. Yeah. So for sure, the first 2 is something you want to have. So your personal profile, this is the one that you set up to connect with friends and family and stalk people from high school, right? But hey, that's how we reconnected. I know, right? Yeah. So anyway, so you've got your personal profile. And then you're also going to have your business profile. So in the case of Max has his personal profile, friends and family, and kind of his close sphere. But he also has Max Wardlaw, the realtor, right? So with his personal profile, this is the split that you want of content, because nobody wants to be your friend from high school, and all of a sudden, the second you become an agent,
then it turns to 100% real estate listing feed, right? Is that, it needs to vary. You're probably not going to get the level of engagement that you want from those posts, just posting on your personal profile. Alternatively, on your business profile, if you create a business page for you as an agent, you don't want to then, have some of your business postings, but then also have, photos of your dog and what you had for brunch yesterday, So you want to have a balance that it's appropriate for each. So for personal profiles, you want between 70 to 80% to be those personal photos, pictures of you and the kids at the zoo, brunch pics, puppy pics, all of that. But then still knowing that your personal network is such a big piece of your business that you still share about 20 to 30% of that content. Now, in terms of the business content that you share, you may be more selective. So you may focus on those messages that are going to help really engage your family and friends around your business. So maybe it's not posting every open house post, but rather it's showing the closing posts that you're putting out there, celebrating, your success this quarter or this year, or, personal milestones that you reach, things like that, that your friends and family can also support you in, but then also help speak to you as an individual and your business. So
I was going to say bonus points if you call out, like, because again, your friends and family are watching that. So instead of just posting, hey, I closed 1.2 million this month, say, I want to thank all my friends and family for supporting me in closing $1.2 million this month. Then all of a sudden it makes them feel good. You know what I mean? And then they're engaged. So
no, that's an awesome point. And to that as well is like, then when you are looking for referrals and things like that, they're not so drowned out by you like all these messages saved for your personal profile. You're speaking directly to those, friends and family, or close acquaintances. So you can put out there of like, hey, I want to continue to build my business. I'm looking for referrals. I can't wait to, work with more homeowners in this area or that area and grow it that way. So that would be with your personal profile. Business profile, 90% business. This is where you can put all your coming soon, your open houses, your videos, previews, all of that stuff. But then also don't forget that you're creating a narrative around yourself as well. So it does help to kind of show, okay, aside from all the professionalism, this is kind of who I am as a person. These are some of the different things that I'm involved with. This is my family, and this can come through of like a happy Mother's Day post, a happy Father's Day post, back to school photo, and I can't wait to kick off this year, or different things like that, or even focusing on your clients and their families and their stories of what makes a perfect home. It's kind of bringing that personal and more narrative element to it, and not just being all transactional and like getting info out there. So, and then if you are considering, or helping to run a team profile, I think it's good to have kind of a mix of 60% talking about the group as a whole, because that's kind of establishing that really strong branding that every agent then under that brokerage can benefit from. But then 40% also focusing on those individual agents, because again, it's kind of that personal narrative. And since real estate is so much about establishing that trust and that rapport, that you need to have things that are going to drive connections and relationships and engagement at the end of the day. So, and down here, I've got, my little visual aid here of kind of what your audiences look like and how you can kind of grow them. So if right now you have a personal profile, but don't have a Facebook business page, start that Facebook business profile right here and put out a shout out on your personal page of like, hey, look, I just started this, business page for my, real estate business, like and follow, that kind of thing, because most likely on your business page, you're going to have a combination of people that also follow you on the personal profile or also follow you on the team profile. Okay.
Mhm.
Any questions on that thus far before we go into the do's and don'ts with Kelly?
Anything? How's this going, guys? Is this helpful? Can we get like some thumbs up, some nods, or like, no, this is like scaring me?
or stuff that's like, hey, this isn't making sense yet, or I'd like to learn more about this. Like,
We got a thumbs up.
Okay,
Thanks, Elise.
perfect.
All right, perfect.
Yay.
Thanks for the
Yeah, because
You know what, address just for the moment to the mindset again that, we make such a big deal out of this stuff, and you just laid a roadmap out. And, this is a business. You need to invest in a business, and you need people on your team like this or VAs or whatever it is, but you've got to not just sit here and listen to it. This is all great stuff, but if you don't do something with it, and fear is the only thing that holds you back. Go borrow the money to engage people like this to be on your team.
Mhm.
And don't think you have to do everything, because the more you invest in your business, and especially if the more painful the investment is, the more you're going to get out of it. So quit.
right.
Sure.
The mindset you can't afford this. You can't afford not to do these things in this day and age. We had dinner with someone last night. We were talking about social media. They're about 52. I'm 68, and they said, "How have things changed?" I said, "Man, I didn't have a fax machine when I entered into the business. We were typing contracts with 6 pages of duplicates, carbon copies, man, carbon copies. You prayed you didn't make a mistake. You typed it with one finger at a time to make sure and here you've got this power. You've got these people. It's beyond my comprehension why more people don't just get this concept of it's your business and an investment of a few $100s, a few $1,000s, and making sure your social media presence is powerful is the key to the business, as well as then your sphere of influence. So anyway, thank you guys.
Right. No, 100%. Well, and the big thing for me, you guys, and the big aha, and why I think this is so much more beneficial than a lot of the other classes I've gone to. A lot of the other classes are about the rules of the platform. This is the rules of you and how you can put yourself out there. This is literally tangible things that you can start tomorrow, lay this out and go, okay, now I have a plan. I just need to execute it. So definitely, Fred, you're 100% right. This is it's a beast in terms of getting it going, but I equate this to KV Core.
Yep.
It's not going to go anywhere unless you chip away at it. And this doesn't have to be perfect to start. You just have to start.
That's is the start, because Christian Rockwell, I'm going to have him on as a guest tomorrow. 42 sales his first year. His KV Core still is not up. His social media, probably on a scale of 1 to 10, is about a 2, 3. But he did something with it. He did something with his content, but he chose the way of the door knocking. So there's all kinds of ways of doing it, but there's also a way of doing it where it moves your business. You're not constantly struggling. And social media, once you get this done, just like your KV Core, once it's done, it's done. And now you have a machine working for you instead of you being the machine. That's what we're talking about here.
100%.
Absolutely. And I think that to both of your point of having a digital presence isn't just a nice to have anymore. It is an essential part of any business, because the bottom line is that in lots of cases, it's your first impression, right? Your website, your social media, that's where people go to learn about you. And then even alternatively, let's say, you happen to meet someone that's looking for a home, and shows up to one of your open houses, and you're, maybe is interested in using you as their agent. Then what are they going to do? Even if they had a like the best conversation with you there, they're going to go home and they're going to look you up. And they're going to see what your presence is like. People look at your digital footprint as a way to reaffirm any opinions that they've had of you, right? Or go there to make sure that they're not seeing any red flags so that they don't get duped. So now, in order to achieve kind of that good baseline. And like Fred was, mentioning, of this person has had great success, but had some sort of baseline that they were working with, right? And they've got alternative strategies. So we're not all by any means saying this is an end all be all, but it is a vitally essential part of your business. And it's like Max said, it's not about, all these other platform tips and tricks that you'll hear as kind of other best practices. This is the foundation that you need to have in place. And then as you evolve over time, then you can dial it in with tips and tricks, or what's the latest trend on Instagram that, will help boost your content to the next level. But this is definitely where you want to start. If you, just go about it haphazardly and are like, oh, hey, I saw this cool idea on TikTok, or I saw this cool idea over there, but you don't have these foundations, that's not going to be worth your time in executing, because it's not going to get you anywhere. So anyway, with that, I'm going to transition over to Kelly to go through sort of a rapid fire of do's and don'ts in social media. Okay.
And then we've got probably about 15 minutes until we can
Okay.
do a Q&A session, just so you guys know.
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah, no, I want to definitely leave time for questions. So I'll try to go through this quickly. A lot of it is just recap of, the things that Chelsea just went over, but it's good to kind of put it in this do's and don'ts, little bite-sized chunks for you. And just before we go into this, I want to just kind of step on what Fred was saying in terms of the roadmap. Because you're right, Fred, we did provide, or we're trying to provide you a roadmap, but by no means do we want to say that these are the rules. We're trying to give you a guide. And I think you'll find confidence in, as you continue to work the guide, you'll then feel it's more natural. Social media will become more natural to you. And as you find your footing and find that things start, working, or you're getting more traction, it will become more natural. Sometimes when we put out these things, we want to make sure that people still, their authenticity still comes through. And really, this is the guide, but you be you, and following these rules will really kind of help to kind of put it all together. So just use social media as that tool, that educational tool that really helps you in support of your business. All right, so let's pull up the first do's and don'ts. First do is to create that healthy separation of personal and business. And Heather, you asked this question. Hopefully we answered it for you, that yes, you want to have a separation between your personal page and a business page so that you can use those two tools accordingly, and within the right platforms appropriately. Don't stop posting about your business on your personal page, as Chelsea mentioned. You certainly want to keep reminding your friends and family about your business, and during those particular milestones, those moments of celebration, those moments of education, certainly feel free to post from your personal page about your business. All right, the next one is, do make sure your profile information is complete and up to date. You want to make sure you have the right information in there. You want to make sure all of your links work, no broken links, so people aren't getting frustrated when they do find you, that they're not being taken to that next step or finding the right information. Your phone number is really important. Do you have your mobile number on there? Is it your KV Core Smart number? What is that number that you want people to contact you with? Texting, SMS, is it appropriate for people to text you there? Make sure they can get a hold of you and your information is correct.
And I have to caveat that real quick, you guys. How many of you have worked with another agent and then you've gone to their Facebook profile and it's like a company that they worked at two companies ago and it's still up there?
Yeah.
Like that's silly stuff that literally takes 30 seconds and you've got to think about it.
But it speaks volumes to you as an agent, right? Are you, well,
think about what it means to us.
Right.
Think about what it means for me to look at that. And I'm doing a deal on the other side with this person. Think about what it's like for the public to go look at that and be like, well, wait a minute, who am I working with? Who am I dealing with? That's key.
Well, and another thing too is, Facebook now has so many different ways that, people, when they go to your page, can interact with you. So if you don't have WhatsApp or you never check Messenger, don't have that as one of the options that people can reach you at. Like,
Yeah.
so that's one thing, because there's nothing worse if people look at your stuff and they're like, oh, this is great. And then you've got like a WhatsApp number on there and they try to reach you and they never hear from you, right? So you want to make sure that, you know, you're really putting them in the right direction of that preferred communication. Yeah.
Exactly. Next one is choose a high quality profile picture and create a cover photo that includes a personal or a group branding. This is important for that brand recognition, right? If they know you, you want to be easily recognizable to them when they go to your digital presence. And same thing for your branding. You want to, you know, subtly start to introduce your branding, and so that they start to connect you with your brand. So it just becomes, you know, simultaneous, and they're sort of being taught to look for that. The next, do post regularly. Ideally, that's between 1 and 3 times per week. You know, if you guys are in a momentum stage and you're really, you know, gaining that momentum, that might be posting every day for a while, so that you're building up your following. And you know, if you've got a lot of listings, or if it's a really busy time for you, there's definitely you know, opportunities where you can post more than 1 to 3 times, but as on an average, 1 to 3 times per week is a really good consistent number to really get your presence out there and for people to be seeing you consistently.
1 to 3 times per week, 1 time per week, you guys. And if you have 2 profiles, that's 2 posts per week. I don't think there's anybody on this call that can't do that.
Absolutely. And if you really look at it, you know, a month in advance, if you take an hour or 2 one day out of that month and work those posts out, you really then set yourself up for, you know, success. Again, you can intersperse other posts that you don't have on your schedule whenever, but at least you've got that baseline, and you starting to put that system in place and working that consistently every month. Don't focus on quantity over quality. Quality is you, and it's what, you know, people perceive you as your business. So you don't want to, as Chelsea said previously, you know, make a goal of, I've got to post, you know, once a day, and now you're just throwing out random things that don't connect to your business, that don't really, you know, speak to who you are as a business person, or you know, get out those messages that you want people to understand. So, you know, if it's not quality, really think about, should I be posting this or not? And, you know, really focus on that quality of post. Next one, do create content that is optimized for the platform you're posting on. We talked about this a little bit. You know, obviously there are different social media platforms, and there are reasons for being, you know, on different ones. So for Instagram, you know, that's all about being visual. Don't want a lot of text heavy posts or visuals on the post. Don't even really want a lot of branding, so that your feed becomes very seamless and it's very, you know, brand appropriate. But that's different than on, say, LinkedIn, where, you know, you're trying to be promote your professional platform, and this is, you know, more about, you know, those business building activities. So you maybe want to give a little bit more about the business, or brand it in a way that speaks more to your actual business. So there's definitely different types of content for different platforms. You just want to make sure that you're being conscious of where those posts are going. You don't want to make too many social networks. You don't want to, take on too many social networks or make blanket posts on for that content as well. So really think about, you know, where those posts are going. And making sure that they are appropriate for the type of platform. I don't know that you guys use a ton, or use Twitter a ton, but again, you know, Twitter is something for, like, if you've got if you're solving customer service issues, or if you've got information, you know, that you're trying to get out there in a short, succinct way. Twitter might be a different, you know, avenue for you than, say, on LinkedIn, or say on Instagram, where you're trying to be very visual, or you're trying to show, you know, more of like aesthetics, that kind of thing.
I'll say this again for everybody in the back, is that if you don't have a good foundational hold on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you don't need to be having a TikTok and a Snapchat and everything like that for your business. focus on those core ones that you know are going to blanket the greatest amount of your audience, and then you can expand from there. Also do some baseline research. It's very readily available of who the core audiences are on each one of these platforms. And although lots of things are changing, lots of businesses are on TikTok, you know, it's evolving every day, the core demographics of TikTok are still probably not what your core home buyers are right now. So definitely prioritize, you know, Facebook, Instagram, you know, if lots of your spheres on LinkedIn or what have you as your primary, and then you can evolve past that. Otherwise, you're just going to end up spreading yourself too thin, and you're going to run into problems on quality and consistency.
Yep. And that really kind of leads into this next one. Sorry, that's okay. To interact with your audience, right? If you're spreading yourself too thin and now you're on 5 different social media platforms, when it comes time for audience engagement, and now you're having to check all of those different social platforms to see, am I getting comments? Am I getting likes? Am I getting shares? And now having to answer those questions and all of that information coming in, you're going to be spreading yourself too thin. So you definitely want to interact with your audiences. Make sure that you're liking their content, you're commenting on posts, you're DMing and private messaging them when you're asking questions, because that's all about relationship building. And, you know, again, it's working that you know, online or that digital community that you're starting to build. So the audience building is really important, that you're continuing to interact with them when they start to engage with you. But don't become a spammer, right? So you want to make sure that you're not, you know, going through and liking every single post that people are interacting with you on, or, you know, going through and just bombarding, you know, different businesses with likes and shares and you know, like my post or comment here. You know, that's definitely not something that you want to be known for. So make sure that, you know, you're doing it appropriately and you're doing it like mutually, right? So that you're not just kind of bombarding or becoming, you know, too much of a spammer within your own right. Do create content that encourages people to engage with you. So these are easy ways that you can encourage people to engage with you, just like asking a question, asking an opinion. Facebook and Instagram, they make it really easy now to create engagement polls. So you can actually track responses and then continue to engage when you're getting those responses. So utilize the tools within the platform to help you engage with your audiences. But don't constantly ask for like and shares. I think we kind of just went over that. You know, you don't want to be continually looking kind of desperate for those likes. It's certainly okay to intersperse, you know, hey, follow me, or, you know, like my post, like my video, follow me to, you know, share this. That's okay, but don't do it every time. You want to use that sparingly, so that way people will really take action and not go, oh, they're asking for likes again. The next one, do edit your content for errors, clarity, and length. This is a big one. It takes 2 seconds to spell check, but it can speak volumes. You want to make sure that your content is clean, that it's clear, and your messages are coming clear across. If it doesn't make sense to you, or for industry specific, you want to just make sure that, you know, people are easily understanding what you're putting out there. And length, edit for length too. You know, people don't want to read these long novellas. We already talked about, you know, when you come to that read more, are you stopping to actually read more, or are you just continuing to scroll? If you do have, you know, a longer post, or, you know, a piece of education that you want to get out there, consider breaking it up. Maybe it's too long for one post, but you can do it as a series of 3. That certainly will help you with that whole content building, you know, to create more, but also, you know, help you keep it short and concise into that digestible information. You want to make sure that you are using resources, even if they're coming from an outside source, because that's definitely lending to your credibility. But don't forget to give credit if you are utilizing from that outside source. You know, it's definitely, if it's something you don't know if you have permission to use, If you credit, you're definitely going to, you know, put yourself in a better position. If somebody does come back and say, hey, you know, you don't have permission to use that, at least you gave them the credit and you tried to, you know, proactively do that.
And in order to do that, it's as easy as in the copy of your post, writing source, colon, and then where it came from.
Absolutely. Or just
adequate,
creating
yeah.
a link, right, of where that actual source came from. Mhm. You want to use your profile as a way to support other businesses. And we kind of talked about this a little bit, but you know, tagging other businesses, tagging adjacent businesses. If you're working with, say, a mortgage broker, or you know, someone that is an industry that is, you know, that you work with adjacent to yours, it's okay and certainly encouraged to support those businesses in your post. If you're at another business, you know, use location tags. Hey, I'm here supporting, you know, XYZ business, so that people get that cross promotion, and it encourages those businesses to help support you as well. And if you can create, you don't have to do this, you know, with all of your partnerships, but if you can create a couple of those that are consistently, you know, engaging with you and you with them, that can be a great way to help grow your audience and to kind of share within those audiences.
This is a great way how you can also use some of the content that you would typically use on your personal Facebook profile, and also double, you know, utilize it for your professional profile. Is like we were talking about those brunch photos, is that, you know, if you just posted a picture of your eggs Benedict, you know, and some comment about, you know, look what I had for brunch today, that's more personal. But if you change it to like, hey, this is definitely one of my top 5 places for brunch in Orlando, and you tag that business and everything else like that, now, you know, that's information that would be valuable to anyone looking to buy or sell a home in Orlando, right? That it's more about their community or things to check out. And it establishes you as an authority and a resource on the area in general, because buying homes isn't just about that piece of real estate, but really the community that people are buying into. So if you
100%.
focus on posts that are about that community, that's a way to kind of vary your content, offer a lot of value, and establish those partnerships like Kelly said.
Chelsea, it's 9:30, so I want to make sure that we have time for questions. Should we skip to questions here, Max?
How many more do you have? Because these are great.
Yeah, we've got like 3 or 4 more.
4. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Go for it.
Okay, so using hashtags. Hashtags will help you connect and build that following to other content. Hashtags, you want to make sure that they are appropriate for the business, and also that they're meaningful. So there was a time when, you know, social media was about posting, you know, this huge chunk of hashtag after your post, but really they've cracked down on that. It's really not an effective tool anymore. And I think Instagram actually will only allow you up to 30. So you want to create hashtags that are effective, but also are meaningful, you know, to your business. Hashtag Orlando, hashtag Florida real estate. You know, those where people will help people when they're searching for you to find your content. Same thing with don't overuse your hashtags. You don't want to, you know, have like a million flooding your feed. Just use those hardworking ones that are going to help filter and help, you know, kind of navigate within your content. Posting video content with main messages coming in that first 5 seconds of the video is really important. Video is king. It's not going anywhere. Definitely encourage you guys to experiment with video, and then making sure that that content within the first 5 seconds of that video is screaming what your main messages is about. So that will encourage people to continue to watch. People have really short attention spans now, so the video shouldn't be too long in length. You don't want to try to explain everything. Again, if you've got a ton of content, consider breaking it up, creating that great intro and outro, leaving a little teaser at the end. Hey, you like this one? Follow me next. We're going to go inside and I'll take you through some of the features of the home. That kind of thing, so that you're leading them, but you're not allowing them to, or not requiring them to stay and you know, digest a ton of content where they might not have time.
And I got to tell you, on open houses, I'm guilty of this. which you just reminded me I need to change it. Instead of doing the whole tour, maybe we do a view of the outside and say, hey, tune in next. We're going to go to the main living space in the kitchen area. Do that
Absolutely.
video, then the next video. Then all of a sudden you've got 5 different videos of the same house. And again, your business page is going to fill up with awesome content.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then those videos are going to get easier and easier for you to produce because you're going to have those intros and outros sort of like set. You're going to already know what to say. Really, all that's changing is the content, right? The actual whatever you're videoing, and you're just going to find that rhythm.
Mm-hmm. And you would be shocked because Kelly and I are in, social media ad management every day, social media management, all of that, of how low of a percentage of videos that are viewed past that 5 seconds. So you literally, it's not just like, oh, this is sort of, you should try to get your message out there. If you're not hooking them in that first 5 seconds, you're going to have a lower percentage. So if you want people to actually view your videos, you have to be planful in what you're going to say. So like in Max's open house, preview, he's, hey, Max Wardlaw here with Magnetic Home Group. We've got, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in College Park, 550, great family home, and then maybe you list, 3 of the other, updated kitchens, updated bathrooms, incredible pool in the back. Follow me, let's take a look. And so people get that information on upfront, and they are like, oh man, I really want to see that pool, or oh, it's hard to find an updated kitchen in this neighborhood, or something like that. That's going to keep pulling them through. So getting that really top level information out. All right.
Next one, I know we've talked about this, but posting on a regular schedule and being consistent. Consistency plus time equals success. And it's really a way that you're going to then be able to measure your success. If you're consistent with your posts and you do it for 3 months, within that 3-month period, you're going to be able to go back and then have a whole pool of posts to now start to analyze, right? Where was that engagement coming from? So when you're setting up your next month, you can look at, wow, when I asked these 3 questions, or I did this engagement poll, I really got a lot of engagement. I really got a lot of people commenting and sharing. Let me set up another engagement poll for next month, or let me repeat now this type of post because people really started to engage with it. And that's really the only way you're going to be able to measure what you're putting out there. If it's successful, it's if you're consistent and you have that content to go back and measure too. And the other thing I'll say is don't get discouraged when your content isn't immediately being liked or going viral. I mean, it takes so much for something to go viral, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, you guys know all the things that go viral these days. You know why or what the reasoning is, but don't get discouraged when your content isn't going viral right away or isn't getting the engagement right away. Sometimes things just don't resonate. And again, it's with that consistency is where you're going to start seeing the successes. One post isn't going to make or break. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to have calls to action in your posts. People need to be told what to do. If you want them to go to your website, make that your call to action. If you want people to like and to follow you, make that your call to action. Be specific and be very literal, and don't forget to put those calls of action there. Don't forget to be patient with yourself. Again, it will get easier. The more comfortable you become, the more natural it will become to you, the more authentic you will become within your content. Again, follow that roadmap. Don't feel like you have to just do that only. You can intersperse other things that aren't on your calendar when they come up, but the roadmap, the calendar is there to give you the confidence and to help you kind of as that guide as you move along.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just kind of wrap up everything that we're talking about before we move to questions quickly, is that if you kind of take these pieces, take a month. This is what we did with, Max's team, was that it was like a series of like week by week, those different things that we focused on to then put these building pieces together. then run it for 3 months, knowing that you've got the consistency and the foundations there to get those benchmarks like Kelly mentioned, and then you can continue to refine. So it, I think so many people, try it for a couple weeks, get discouraged, all of that. And it's really like building that over the long term. But I promise you that if you put some of these foundational pieces into play and have that consistency over 3 months, you'll actually be pretty amazed at what you have, built within that time. And then, like Kelly just mentioned, you can look at those insights, looking at that reporting, and really continue to evolve from there. So, but yeah, there's a lot of different pieces to it. I think, Kelly, you talking about authenticity and really customizing it to you. These are best practices that then you look at yourself, your individual situation, and the, goals within your business, and you tailor these solutions to meet that. Because there's definitely not one prescription that then, if everybody followed it, things are gonna, work out perfectly. But if you can take these and put them through the lens of your individual business, I think you'll see some really great impact. So,
well, and this is a huge opportunity too, you guys. Just like with open houses, you get to choose what house you do, what price point, what customer you're working with. Who do you want to work with? And then do some research on that side. What kind of content are they consuming? What social media platform is that demographic on? There's all these questions that really puts a lot of power in your hands to figure out who you want to connect with and who you want to work with. It's really a great tool. So
yeah, and I think that was one of the really great conversations we had with your team, Max, was about those personas, right? Identifying yes. And really getting to know who your current audience is, like who you currently are working with. But then, hey, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, who do you want to be working with? So that as you're building this really important piece of your business, you're starting to create content that's not only going to resonate with the people that you have and that you can keep that, those elements of your business moving forward, but then how do you grow that new segment over time? Yes. And tailor content to them too. So yeah, there's a lot of different pieces. I really encourage all of you, whether it's individually or working, with a partner, that going through this will really give you a lot of great insights, and you'll just feel such a sense of relief because you'll have direction, right? That's what we all crave, is to have a plan and just be like, okay, now I can execute this and feel good about the direction I'm headed. So anyway, we'll open it up to questions. And I know, Max, you're going to help us kind of moderate those.
Yeah, no, 100%. So if you want to, do you guys want to, the easiest thing probably would be raise your hand in the chat, and then it'll put you up front. Or if you guys want to stop share, then I can kind of see everybody.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I can do that. Here, I'm going to put up our information just really quick.
If you guys need that.
If you guys have any questions or follow-up, or, don't know where the next step is, or, just need some collaboration, Kelly and I are here. Those are our cell numbers as well as our email. And you can also go to prodioco.com and reach us. We have a contact.
And this probably won't be the last time you see them. You guys, we're actually working with them on doing a KV course segment in November for the GPS group, which is the other side of what they've been super, instrumental in getting my team up and running. And that's going to be really fun. We're going to talk about personas, how to segment the different types of people, the roadmap, the sales cycle, all of that kind of stuff. And then we might have some other content, some other stuff that's going to be coming soon. So this won't be the last time you see them, but definitely they're a hugely invaluable resource in terms of, do's and don'ts, getting things together, kind of thinking outside the box, all of these things, and working collaboratively with you. That's the thing that I love is, working with Chelsea and Kelly. It's not just do this. It's, well, let's talk about this a little bit and try to find out what's going to be the best way for you and where you are in your business. And I think that's what really sets them apart as well. So,
well, thanks. I'm just a pleasure working with their team. We're so glad that we added that value for you. So yeah,
and we're not even there yet.
Added value here today.
Yeah. I was going to say it's going to take some time, but we're on our way, and way more than when we started. So
Yeah, and
I see
54
Mia.
is such a powerful tool to bring this all together and
Oh, it's
get that
nuts.
optimization and everything. So
I know. I
let me
know.
stop share here.
That's
All right.
perfect. And then we've got Mia. I see Mia's got a question. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. So I wanted to ask about what's your approach to captions? Because sometimes I struggle with like putting the right caption on there. And then what your thoughts were on reels versus posts.
Sure. And when you say captions, you mean, like the description, the copy at the top? Yeah. So in terms of our approach, we really start with that content calendar and establishing those themes. And then, it's about coming up with those different messages. So for instance, let's focus like on the education content. If you wanted to start sharing maybe some of your tips or tricks or like updates to the market, all of that, I would start a Google Doc and kind of put those different topics. So, maybe, and it could be a whole bunch of ideas of 5 things to consider when, thinking about selling your home or buying a home, or 5 things to consider with raising interest rates, things like that. And start listing down like what are all those different things that you would educate your customers or clients on, and taking some of those main themes and beginning to build them out. And lots of times if you're thinking about how you're explaining those things, you'll find yourself that as you're sort of building that paragraph could even be chopped down into simpler snippets. So I would say the best thing is, just like we talked about getting that point across in the first 5 seconds of the video, I would keep it pretty succinct. If you're going to put some sort of list in there, you can create breaks so that when people do hit the read more, then it's really broken out more. You'll find this is a trend right now on Instagram as well, because it used to be that Instagram, it was like the shorter the caption, the better.
Right.
And now it's actually opposite. And you can break it down, and you'll see a lot of these posts that once you hit that read more, that you can have full lists with a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I think it's about kind of starting with a brainstorm with some of these different ideas, and then taking those snippets or that one piece of advice and building it out a little bit more. And you'll feel a lot better is if you keep this as an ongoing list or an ongoing document, so that you don't have to be like sitting with that blinking cursor in front of you trying to think of what to say. And I think also too, if you've got somebody within your industry or with your team to collaborate on, don't be scared of like kind of sharing messaging and ideas. You don't want just like straight copy and paste, but put different ideas that you see somewhere else in your own words, within interjecting your own experiences or added thoughts. And I think it can be really valuable to your viewers. In terms of reels are a really powerful tool. And especially on Instagram, that's it's really kind of either evened itself out in the importance of posts, or even above that, because if you can become a trending reel without any ad dollars, you can get a lot of added visibility. But with that, I would make sure that when you're building reels, that it is that quality content. It's that walking through homes, you're keeping it on that kind of shorter format video, and that it is something that people are going to want to stay and watch, versus just taking post content and kind of streaming it together like in a story. I don't necessarily think that would be worth the time of compiling it. So
what would you say the longest video you would really want to do? What would you say would be like, if it's past this, you're wasting your time?
So,
and I know it depends on content and stuff like that, but like a good rule of thumb, if people were to do a target, like what would you say? A minute or less, or 30 seconds or less?
I would say a minute to 90 seconds would be ideal.
Okay.
If you can break it up into that. If you're used to doing 5 to 10 minute videos, I would make your goal, try to keep it 3 to 5 and keep working down. And the whole point is not to eliminate the value that you're offering, but rather breaking it up into different chunks if you feel like you have a lot to explain. Or just like we're looking at posts and cutting out a lot of the text, is this is a teaser, right? There's going to be times, and I know that a lot of you kind of retooled your process during COVID, where you had a lot of online or virtual open houses. That's a totally different conversation, right? Because that's trying to replace an experience. But when we're talking about videos that are supposed to be those teasers, engage people and kind of convert them to coming to that open house or contacting you with interest about the property, you want to keep it short and sweet.
100%. Any other questions, you guys? I know it's a lot to digest, but I hope you guys saw how this is a lot more actionable items, not just this is the type of post you need for Instagram. This is the type of post you need. You know what I'm saying? And I love what you said, Chelsea, like start with 1, maybe 2, work your way to 3 in terms of the platforms you're doing, and then kind of build as you go. Right. Gina's got a question.
Can I make a suggestion really quick? I'm so sorry, just so I can.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, me.
There's on Etsy, there's actually social media calendars, because I get like, to me, planning it out, I'm very like on the go. So taking the time to slow down to plan for social media is like hard. So I did come across on Etsy, there's a bunch of social media calendars for like content planning, and there's a bunch of templates for different aesthetics and styles. So for anyone that's out here like, oh my gosh, how do I do all this? That could be a really good start.
Yeah, definitely. And really quick on templates as well. And Max did a shout out to Canva. That's something that we've worked with clients too in setting up templates that then are customized to you. And I don't know if many of you guys are Canva masters, but and we do some training on Canva as well. But you can actually set up all your brand stuff within your Canva profile so that it auto-populates all your colors, all your fonts, has your logos right there.
I think that might be our next call.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great way to then streamline their process, or those templates that you saw that we created for Max and his team, then those exist in Canva and they can just go in and plug and play their images, change text, all of that, and then they're ready to go. So, but yeah.
Most of those Etsy templates too, they direct you to Canva. So like, it's like electronic files, then it goes to Canva, and then it's like, you don't have to start from scratch. You kind of have a base, and then you just, put your picture in there and all that stuff. But that's it. Sorry, Gina.
That's okay. What I wanted to say is it's so crazy how, first of all, I heard that I have a friend who posts things that are so irrelevant to everything and makes no sense, and she gets paid from Facebook for her reels now. I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently she gets paid several $100s. And personally, my reels are way better, but that's a whole story. But it's very weird. Like, you can change your Facebook page now, and it tells you how many seconds people are watching your everything, the videos, the reels, everything. It tells you. So you can see that basically you lose them after the 5 seconds or whatever. Right. So it tells you right there. So I don't know if everybody's changed this.
And I haven't looked at it in a second on like personal profiles, but in Ad Manager, it will actually show you 3-second views. So it breaks it down and segments it. So it's like you can.
Right. Well, I changed it to the I don't even know what this is, but I changed it.
Insights. Yeah.
Right. So I can see what people are, seeing or whatever. But I mean, the stuff that it's really odd what people like and what they don't like. Like you said, that sometimes people can have, it could go totally viral and it could be so weird. Like, it's nothing that's really pertinent to anything. Like, I have a tortoise that I just inherited from somewhere. My husband found it, and now all of a sudden he's my favorite pet ever. And I get thousands of likes on a me, I have a leash. I sometimes walk this little thing. It's the cutest thing. But I got thousands of followers on that. And then I did a house that I have a listing on that's 800,000 and I got 250.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that house looks, I mean, Buddy is cute, but the house
Yeah.
is excellent.
Well, and I think the other thing you guys said about simply going on there and asking a question, like I'm sitting there and going, why? That's the easiest freaking thing to do. I have questions all day long, and why don't I ask it? You know, why don't I get on there and ask questions? And again, I think there's a balance between becoming like a question troll, and you know, not. But you know, especially some of these things, you know, you can tailor questions to specific audiences. If you want to make agent attraction part of your business, make some agent direct questions. If you want to work with first-time home buyers, maybe ask some questions that, you know, what's the biggest challenge you have for first-time home buyers? There's so many possibilities, and we honestly, in our minds, half the time I feel like we just overcomplicate it. And it's exactly what you said, Gina. Like this tortoise brings in like the crowd when, you know, my gorgeous, you know, $800,000 listing brings in like 5 people. It is interesting how this happens.
Everybody check out my tortoise, though. He is very funny.
I was gonna say, I'm sold. I'm going to your page, Gene. I'm
He
checking.
is so funny that I don't even know. And I'm not
well,
a tortoise person, really.
And I know we've got a 10 o'clock call, so we've got to wrap this up, but this is not going to be the last. So I want to thank Chelsea and Kelly so much.
You're welcome.
For coming on and doing this. This has been absolutely awesome. You guys have been instrumental in helping me build what I'm building, and we ain't done yet. So thank you guys. I hope you found some great value in this. Tiffany, is there anything else we need in terms of wrapping up for today?
For me to find my unmute. No, that is it. Sorry, I'm like, come on, click it. No, we are good to go. Thank you guys so much for participating.
And then Chelsea and Kelly, I'm going to get with you guys after this. I got a couple of direct questions for you. So
yeah, that'd be great. So thank you. I'm going to stop the recording.